Hello, Factorio people. Welcome back to the broadcasts from Krastorio. Episode 11. Today I want to get advanced tech cards done. Get into the real meat and potatoes of stuff. Probably should have hit meat and potatoes already by now on episode 11. But that's alright. If you want to do the old like and comment and subscribe, that would be great. But this special shout out today to the lurkers. The ones who just watch and then leave. Arguably the best way to enjoy content, in my opinion. So this one's for you. Alright, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We just about got Matter Tech cards up and running last time. And it was a very hard fought to get this far. And then we put all this effort in and then realised it doesn't really get us that much. Looking at the tech tree, basically it just lets us get advanced tech cards. And maybe some matter processing stuff. But the real good stuff is here. Power Armor Mark III, Advanced Assembly Machines, Advanced Chemical Plants, Advanced Furnaces. And for that we need both Matter Tech cards and Advanced Tech cards. So we need to do that. Then the other thing I want to do is I want to start making sure we've got enough modules for the base going forwards. We've got our little tiny module build set up here. And all this is for is just so that the runoff, you know, we're making a lot of green circuits, we're making a lot of electronic components, we may as well put those to use while the mall is doing nothing, which for the most part it is. But now that we're starting to use modules and beacons for real, we need a bit more of a plan. So I put 5 modules a minute of both speed modules and productivity modules. Not that it matters, because they're the same ingredients. So let's just say 10 modules a minute into my Factorio planner. And it wasn't too bad. Modules are much cheaper in Krastorio compared to vanilla. Taking red circuits out of the tier 1 module ingredients goes a long way. So they're not too bad, and they craft faster as well. But if I want 5 modules a minute, 10 modules a minute, 5 modules a minute of both speed and productivity, we're going to need to bolster a few things. So let's have a look and see what we need to do. Here we go. So with speed module is 50% speed increase. Speed module Mark III is 50% extra. So 10 each with 150% increase is the equivalent of 25 machines, and the ratio is 5-5-1. So to have a speed module Mark III running all the time, you need 5 speed module Mark IIs, and to have 5 of those running all the time, you need 25 of these. So with some quick maths, some speed modules, this does what we want. This is the equivalent of 25 assemblers running. You can't prod module these, obviously. This is the equivalent of 25 of these. This is the equivalent of 5 of these, and then 1 is the equivalent of 1 fact fans. So for this, running at full tilt with blue belts, you need basically a whole belt of electronic components. That's really where the issues lie. So I've started here, this is the progress so far, by using modules and beacons to upgrade the green circuit build. And starting to use blue belts for builds now. Except for this is obviously incorrect. They're fairly standard module beacon builds for now. At least, you know, while we're still on assembly machine Mark 3s, when we get advanced assembly machines, everything's going to change again. But hopefully we can just cross that bridge when we come to it. I looked at doing direct insertion for the copper wire into the machines, but it didn't really work for me. This seemed to be the best thing to do. And we're ploughing through matter card research as well. Not many that just need purple, yellow and blue. Or purple, yellow and matter, I should say. But some of the ones that turn things into matter are interesting, but I don't use that at the moment. We'll look at that next time. So yeah, here's the revised green circuit build. The red circuit build is functionally exactly the same. Copper into wires and then 2 ingredients in. Let me get rid of this flashing for you. You can see some of the module builds are... If you see this around the base in some of the builds, it's not a mistake. When you've got your 40% productivity going, and it took me a long time to sort of wrap my head around this, just because it feels counterintuitive, even though it shouldn't be. If you've got your 40% productivity modules in your machines, it's not important in the slightest that all the machines then work at the same speed. You're still getting your 40% productivity regardless of... so I'll trim off some speed modules here, should machines working too fast cause throughput issues. So... can't remember exactly off the top of my head why this is important. Why does this make so many... This might actually be a mistake. I know I was just talking about how it's not a mistake, but this actually might be a mistake. What is going on here? Why do these only have 1 beacon in? Clearly they can take more... Oh, it's because I only want 1 belt of green circuits coming out, that's why. Yeah, any faster than this uses more than 1 blue belt. That's why I've done that. This still makes 1,700 red circuits a minute, which, if I look at Factorio Lab, with the initial target of 100 cards and 5 speed module 3s and 5 productivity module 3s, we will need 1,200 red circuits. So as you can see, it's still fairly cheap and inexpensive at this point. Red circuits need electronic components, and electronic components is certainly a problem. But the more pressing issue is that we are using a lot of productivity modules very quickly. Each one of these assembly machines can take 4 productivity modules. So in a build like this, we're actually using 48 times 4, or almost 200 productivity modules. Which, when you're making 5 a minute, you know, it's obviously not going to take that long, but it's still got a bit of a backlog. When you get into the later game, you end up using a lot more speed modules because you have fewer machines completely surrounded by speed modules just to get more out of the space. But we can change that. We can just change these to do this. There you go. Obviously we're too far away for it to be able to do anything with what's inside these machines, but there are a lot of speed module Mark 3s left over from the old module build over here. 800, as I say, because we're using a lot more prod modules than speed modules. So I leave this running like this for a little bit. I have to go and fix this as well, of course. But when we're making 10 productivity modules a minute, we can start changing a lot of the builds very quickly. So we want to change electronic components. That means we need to change... plastic is fine. This build is built with enough for the plan. But the oil isn't. So we need to change oil, silicon also. We need to make a lot of changes. If we want this to work consistently and not cause any throughput issues around the base, right now we can put this belt back. We're going to need to bolster a few more things. So let's do that. So the top row here is moduled electronic components, and the bottom row I've left alone, because we still have productivity module 3 debt. There is another build here as also that I've not going to show you straight away that is still waiting on productivity modules. This is where I do this for real in the save file as well, to try and get rid of this 124 productivity module debt. So even without the bots bringing all of the modules straight away, we can see how much of an effect this has. I mean, it's 40% productivity. Anybody who knows anything about Factorio knows that the 40% productivity is pretty huge. So for every 2.5 products you make, you get one free. I said, for every 2.5 products you make. That's a really niche English joke about window adverts. Hit me up in the comments if you got that one. So just to show off the numbers, even though I'm sure everyone can add 40% to a number, 15 glass makes 30 electronic components, but then when you add 40% productivity and some speed beacons to counteract the negative speed penalty of the productivity module, the build that takes up functionally the same space turns into 5 extra glass a minute. Well, about 6 or 7 extra glass a minute. But for double the electronic components. So that's pretty good. Even though electronic components are fine. And obviously these belts need to change. So you got to spend modules to make modules. Is the thing. Just spend them. Spend them early. Make some. Spend them early, and use that productivity to just make more modules, and then you'll snowball quite quickly. This obviously also does have quite a serious knock-on effect with the power. The power was doing fine for a long time, but if we look at the last 10 hours at this point. About 6.5 hours ago we started using beacons in earnest, and each one of these builds you can see, so that's probably where I do the copper, that's where I do the iron, that's probably where I do the second copper, this one is probably the green and the red circuits. You know, the beacons add quite a severe power penalty as well, but we're still well within our 1.7 gigawatts for the base, but we will need to start thinking about this soon as we add more and more beacons. And speaking of adding more and more beacons, yeah, oil. Also, mostly because I needed to think about lubricant anyway, because we need lubricant for electric engine units, which need to go into advanced tech cards. So I beaconed up the oil as well, in a design I've never used before, but it seems interesting. I added productivity and speed modules to these, even though they are not going to be working at ratio anymore. And my theory with that is that I've got these 200,000 unit tanks here that can just hold on to any issues with throughput. And hopefully, by the time we get all of this sorted, we will research advanced chemical plants, which have a crafting speed of 8, which is pretty bonkers. So all of these will basically just be able, all of this, I should say, should just be able to be replaced by one of each, one advanced chemical plant doing one of each. They also have more module slots as well. They have 4 module slots instead of 3, so this isn't perfect, but like most things in this base, it's a temporary stopgap solution. And here's the lubricant train. I did go through and amend some of the trains in the way that I talked about in the last episode, making them just 1-1 trains for anything that has a very low throughput. It's also, at this point, I'm kicking myself for not doing the same unloading as loading strategy here. Like, I'm not sure what this is all about. I thought it made sense. Four medium containers is still fewer slots, just about, than a warehouse. But a warehouse doing this, basically just the reverse of this, unloading into 4, would make more sense. Especially because then I could also have trains of any size. I could have 1-1 trains, 1-2 trains, 1-3 trains, or 1-4 trains. That would self-balance. Which would also be good in the future for if I want to build a mall, and I want to have a mall train that goes and just picks up 1 wagon of low-density structures. Because currently, obviously, if I have a 1-1 train come here and pick up loads of low-density structures, just this one would empty. And then I'd have to wait for these to be full for this to get the line share. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. It's not smart. But hey-ho. Okay. So silicon needs a bit of a better plan, is mostly the only thing now. Silicon will help electronic components go along. Put a few modules in processing units, which wasn't hugely necessary, but I just did it anyway. So let's redesign silicon, I think. I think that's the next save file, at least, anyway. It was. I moved away from direct insertion because the numbers weren't quite right. This is also wrong as well. I don't realise this until another half hour down the line. But I thought I'd show you anyway, just for the sake of completeness and honesty. This needs to be twice as many filtration plants. And it's quite obvious that it's not working because this is not getting enough silicon at the end. But it's basically the same. The design, well, I'll just shift it all over. So I'm just going to belt the stuff rather than the design before you saw had direct insertion. Anyway. So with all of that out of the way, we are now making a tasty amount of productivity modules. 10 a minute. It's quite a lot. And we'll just change this to speed modules, should we desire. I did toy with the idea of having another one of these up here that just made speed modules and using a circuit condition with the belt, with some circuits on a belt, to only make speed modules when we had more than 1,000 productivity module Mark IIIs, but I feel like that's probably over-engineered. It just makes more sense to do a huge backlog of... just put a huge amount of prod module 3s somewhere and then even them out. Because as I say, we will need speed modules quite a lot eventually. Any other huge sweeping changes here before we actually start making advanced tech cards? I don't think so. I don't think so. Just about have enough space. Can't remember if this iron ore mine was here before, but it doesn't matter. There's still only one iron ore processing section. But I just added an extra mining platform so that we could have 2 trains going around the base in the same way that we do with copper, even though copper has 2 smelting sections. Anyway, if we want advanced tech cards, we're going to need lithium-sulfur batteries, electric engine units, immersium gear wheels. But I also would like to make sure that we have enough imersite powder as well. Because this is not enough for stuff. This is very slowly backing up, thankfully. In the way that I talked about before, where you're taking hours to fill up trains because this can hold 8,000 crystals, but you're only using 1,100 crystals around the base at any given moment, any given minute. That problem has thankfully solved itself. But this will definitely not keep up. This will definitely not keep up. So let's use our newfound modules and beacons to sort this out before we go any further. Oh yes! How tasty is that bad boy? So surround the mining quarry with loads of beacons. It's working quite fast. Put that into a box. This can output... can't output 2 blue belts with the loaders. This is not working as fast as 2 blue belts, but it doesn't matter because each side of this is only using 2/3 of a blue belt. And that is because any more than that will output more than 1 belt of the products. And then the excess sand currently is being turned into landfill. I would like a better solution for this going forwards. It'd be nice to somehow integrate this build into the rare metal refining. As I've said before at length, the sand turns into the hydrogen and the chlorine, which you can use to enrich the rare metals just on its own. But for now we'll turn it into landfill, because we are going to need a lot of landfill going forward. This is ripe for being filled in, this is ripe for being filled in, so is this. North is probably the expansion that we're going to do next, just because it's fairly clear of biters already and we won't have to tear down very many mines. We can replace this oil with this oil, or even maybe this one. We also know from ages and ages ago that there is a decent rare metal patch up here as well that's not been eaten by the land generation. So yeah, beacons, modules, loaders. Make for some pretty interesting Krastorio builds, I think. I feel like, at least. Okay. So with the powders sorted, we can start thinking about making immersium plates. We also need a build for sulfur batteries and electric engine units, both of which are quite simple builds. Lithium batteries is 1 fluid and 2 items, which means you can just use the same build. Where is processing units? Here we go. Processing units is 2 items and 1 fluid. So there you go, that was easy. Not prod moduling this at the moment. Sulfuric acid, copper, lithium, not really anything that I'm worried too much about. Lithium is lithium chloride and water. And lithium chloride is mineral water and hydrogen chloride, which is from stone. So really, your mineral water is the only thing bottlenecking this. I mean, I realise I don't do an actual lot of building. In fact, I do no building. I just show you what I've built. But I can just find a module, a grid section that has what I want. So if it's 2 items and a fluid, I just find that, copy, hold shift, don't copy the train station names, plop it down. There you go, job done, easy. So a train of lithium sulfur batteries, electric engine units are also very easy. Oh, would you look at that, it's 2 items and a fluid. Engine units are only iron. Hey, this build's wrong. The circuits can't get into the machine. I'll fix that later. Electric engine units are just iron. Sorry, engine units are just iron. Electric engine units are engine units, lubricant, and electronic circuits. And the intermediate components of the electric engine unit, of the engine units, are made just here. So yes, again, fairly simple builds. So the only thing we need to do now is just set up some immersium plate production, and we will have advanced tech cards ready to go. The rocket silo is in my inventory because I removed it from here. I thought I was going to do the rocket silo first, but again, looking at the tech tree, I feel like the rocket is bait. It's a bit of bait. You don't really get much from launching the rockets, and you don't need optimization tech cards at all to get the higher tier of items. So focusing on the rocket, I think, is a bit of a trap. You sort of do it because that's what you do in vanilla, right? But anyway, so I got rid of the rocket silo, launched a few more rockets just to get rid of the built satellites I already had, and then I'm currently... oh, I finished, in fact. 7,000 optimization tech cards in here because we had 5,000. We'd launched 5 rockets, and I just turned those into optimization tech cards with a 40% productivity bonus. 7,000 optimization tech cards. I thought about spending them. It doesn't get you that much. Robot speed 6 is the first one that needs those, and that is 5,000 tech cards. One on productivity 4, 3,200, and the next tier would be 5,000. So we could only do one level of that. Nothing really starts out at the 1,000 card tier in the same way that it does. So I'm just going to save the cards so that I can quickly research some of these things down here that are much cheaper. Superior robot batteries will only need 1,000. Well, it need less because of the productivity bonus in the labs. Portable antimatter reactors only need 500. Intergalactic receiver, which we need to quote-unquote win the game, is 3,000. It's possible we have enough optimization tech cards on us to win the game now, but we'll see. Not like now. Power Armor Mark 4. That's not a that's a little way away because we need to do Singularity tech cards before we get there. But still, Power Armor Mark 3 is definitely what I'm saving them for. Faster legs, possibly. Shields, don't care. Can't remember the last time I killed a biter. Good God. Okay. Let's get plates, immersium plates set up, even though they're very easy. I had the wherewithal to make a save just before the first plate was built, thinking it would be a milestone. Seeing it is as it is the final tier of item. There the first plates go. It's not a milestone, but I'll show you the milestones anyway. Optimization tech cards at 52 hours. 10,000 matter tech cards at 54 hours. We are still not 60 hours in. Which I can't tell if that's good or not. Obviously it's not good. You know, like I could have been making matter tech cards way before 60 hours. But I think what's more important at the moment is that even though we've spent 60 hours and we've not won the game, we're in fact still a science card away from winning the game. 2, if you count the fact that we've not actually made any of these yet. Expansion from here on out should be quite simple. Should be. You know, I've blitzed through advanced tech cards. I suppose I don't even also have optimization tech cards automated, so, you know. We've done a lot of work for not much immediate gain, but future gain should be quite simple. Should be. Okay, that's electric engine units. That's not where I meant to zoom in. I meant to zoom in here. Even though I think I'm stood right here anyway. Yes, hello, there I am. So, plates. Don't need that many plates for 100 cards a minute. What you do need these for, though, is... You know, they're the equivalent of steel beams, really. They're the next tier up from steel. So they go... a lot of immersium plates go into endgame buildings and things like that. You can turn them into cogs and beams. And they need to turn into gear wheels to make advanced tech cards. So let's make some bloody advanced tech cards, shall we, at long last? Okay. Here come the electric engine units. They should go onto the other side of this belt here. And along with the gear wheels, the lithium sulfur batteries, the blank tech cards. There we go. Advanced tech cards. Let's wait for the milestone, shall we? Hooray! 57 hours, 36 minutes and 3 seconds. I'm going all Sonic the Hedgehog up in this. He's too fast for the game. I've even gotten the train. That loader is the wrong way around. The shame. I was going to say I've even gotten the train and the labs and everything set up. Ready for it. I'll bring some optimization tech cards over so we can get Power Armor Mark III, because that's definitely on my list. I'm going to have to handcraft some energy control units for those. 25 of those shouldn't be too bad to handcraft. I'll just quickly whip around the base and pick up the stuff I need for those, because I want Power Armor Mark III quite desperately. Our whole Power Armor Mark II is still looking a bit small, isn't it? If you watched the last series where I installed the Power Armor Mark III mod, this is laughably bad. Even though I don't think I've not even used a single uranium fuel cell in my portable nuclear reactor yet. These last a long time. 50 gigajoules. I'm not even sure a single train will have used one of these yet. But anyway, advanced tech cards to get the power armor. Certainly then research advanced chemical plants, advanced furnaces, advanced assembly machines. Anti-creep virus capsules should basically stop the need for any more combat, even though we haven't done combat in a long time. You just throw those and it kills a lot of the biters and reverses their evolution as well. It's funny because that means we might not ever kill... Oh, we've already killed a behemoth biter. I forgot that we had actually done that. Okay, good. Lots of progress. I might sneeze. Am I going to sneeze? I don't know. I really thought I was going to sneeze. I didn't even have to mute the mic before it went away. So, yeah, we're gonna need some expansion for sure. We only have one non-used up grid section here. We're going to need to spend some landfill to fill this in, which is fine because I really don't want this landfill to become full. Because if this becomes full, then. But you can see that we're actually totally fine now on powder, imersite powder. Oh yes, I built this grid section down here so that I could make the changes to the blueprint, because I still never got around to changing these. And I also want a copy of this just down so that if I can make changes... This is like my canvas almost, so you know, when I want to make changes to the blueprint. Because I'm thinking I might get rid of these as well soon. The pollution filters might just need to go one way or the other. It doesn't really make any difference. There's an argument to be had for not having the roboports in the base eventually. When I get bigger power armor and Spidertrons and stuff, I can just bring what I need to where I want to build it and not have robots travelling 5 minutes across the base. And that will also reduce UPS load somewhat. But that's a ways down the line. Alright. Let's just send this off on its maiden voyage, shall we, even though it's barely got any tech cards in it at all. While I do the generic thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment. And if you want to see more Krastorio, be sure to subscribe. How much did this have in it? Wow, about 3 minutes worth. Sounds like about as long as I've been waffling on. Okay, let's get the anti-creep virus capsule done, and the anti-biter virus capsule done. And we'll look at those next time. And that costs 3,000 of those, good lord, half an hour. Alright, take it easy. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.